nobody's gonna pay for just because you have a fancy camera.
Yeah.
Like you have to back it up, you know. And the one thing really helped me was I used to shoot a lot of work for free. Like I would shoot and shoot.
And you're live on Dead Radio.
Welcome to another very special episode of Dead Radio with your boy Ini, and once again we have a very special guest reporting live from the Dead Store. We're gonna let our guest introduce himself, and then we're gonna get into his life story. And you know how we do, extract those jewels for you guys to use in your everyday lives. So without further ado.
Sanibonani, Kama Simz Mkhwanazi. I'm from KZN, Ehlushwe, and now based in Joburg.
Shout out to you, bro. Yeah. How are you feeling right now? In this second.
In this second.
Yeah.
Right now, I feel content, but still fighting a bit of challenges. But
that's life.
Most of all, I feel very content. I think whatever is happening right now in my life, it's going the right way.
I feel you. I hear that. I think let's start Simz's story from page 1, right? Where's Simz? Where was he born? What type of kid was he? Just tell me about those early days.
Yeah, so funny enough, I was never a creative. I find myself now being a photographer and dabbing into film as well. But for a very long time, I never thought that I was creative.
I get you.
And grew up, I was fortunate enough to go to multiracial schools.
Dope.
Which was the first from where I'm from.
Dope.
For a very long time, I was the only guy from where I was from that could speak English. So every time I came back home, it's like, hey, Kulumis Gislav. I'm like, what do you want me to say?
I hear you.
But that was a great privilege for me to be able to go to those schools. I got exposed to a lot of things. I started off at Hluhluwe Primary, went all the way to Mpangeni High, went to varsity, did accounting. And when I was in varsity, that's when I got exposed to the camera. But in the weirdest way, like it was not like Uguti, you see someone doing something creative and you're like, oh, I want to do that. In my case, it was, my brother is a hustler, so he was always selling different things.
He's always flipping.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this time around, he was like, hey, you there with the white people, go sell this camera. They like going on holiday. Go sell this camera.
Yeah, go sell this.
Yeah. So I find myself trying to sell this camera, but I can't prove that it works. I can't prove that what kind of image will come from it. Yeah. So I find myself hanging out with, there was an IT friend of mine, Nathan, who was very good at I'll say hacking the Wi-Fi at school.
Shout out to Nathan,
because we were only allowed, Wi-Fi for school activities. That's it. So no YouTube, no whatever. But somehow Homeboy found a way around YouTube, and so I literally on those those crime movies where the FBI is like, find me everything on this guy. So I was like, hey Nathan, find me everything on this camera.
On this camera, I need it.
I need to know what's up there. I need to sell this camera. I need to flip it. I got a good deal from my brother.
Okay.
He was just like, I want this amount, you sell it for whatever, and I'd Google it, and I'd already seen that it was double that price, So I'm trying to sell this camera, and now I'm learning about it, because now I need to show you, like, yeah, it works. You see, But the more I'm learning about it, the more I now want to keep it. So I end up going back to my brother. I'm like, yeah, I got a buyer. There's your money. Meanwhile, I'm the
So
buyer.
you bought the camera. Crazy.
Yeah, and then from there it was just the thing of Instagram was starting to pop, but people were still on Facebook with the Facebook pages. I remember this one night I messaged like 50 pages. People were like, "Hi, I'd like to assist you, what." And some did reply, and some were based like in Cape Town and all that stuff. I was in Durban at the time, and I'm doing my third year. And
In accounts.
in accounting.
Crazy.
So this thing consumed me so much that I ended up like I had one semester left and I dropped out because before my exams, I finally get the opportunity to assist this photographer, Vaughan Travailing. He was shooting Mr. Price at the time. And I was like, this is it.
I'm going
Like,
to
at like school, I've seen people do their degrees at 50,
I'll come back.
But I'll come back to it, which I did eventually come back. I do have a degree in accounting.
Dope.
But that moment kind of gave me that start, like to get started in the industry. And then the rest is just like meeting people along the way. And
how did you know to? Because a lot of photographers, right, don't know that first step of reaching out and assisting someone. How did you know that that was the right move? Why didn't you just be like, you know what, I'm going to take my camera, I'm just going to shoot and then get better and better? Like, how did you know that that's the best move?
I mean, at school, I was very academic, it might sound like I'm giving myself too much praise, but if you know me, you know that I was in the top 10 for the longest time.
I love that.
So, and one of the things that helped me to stay or be in the top 10 was because I wasn't afraid to ask. I wasn't afraid to reach out. I wasn't afraid to be dumb at something.
I get you.
So I always wanted to learn. So me taking that step to like reach out, I knew that I'm gonna be dumb, and I'll always just whatever I learn, I always just tell myself, okay, listen, if I'm learning it from you, I'm gonna take it as if I don't know anything.
I get you.
And whatever knowledge I have right now is zero, and I think that kind of helped me because, and then it also brings down your pride. There's
of course.
People who hit you up, they want to learn something, and then they're telling you how they do it.
This is how I do it. I set up the lights like this.
Yeah,
I get you.
So in that way, if that's how you want to do it, then keep doing it like that. Don't come and bother me here.
Yeah.
So I've always had that mentality of I want to come and learn and help you in the way that you do your thing. And I think me reaching out, I reached out a lot, even to Vaughan, before he gave me that opportunity. Like I was like 10 messages in.
Yeah.
Just talking to myself. Yeah.
Yo, hi.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
I get you.
But not being ashamed of that because I don't know anything. And this person knows something, and I just knew like if you persist hard enough at anything, you'll be fine.
The door will open.
One day, and if it doesn't open, at least you tried.
I get you.
The answer is no if you don't ask.
I get you. Yeah. I get you. I love that. I'm always interested in in practical advice, right? On how do you get better at your craft? Like, how were you getting better and better and better and better? Because I feel like a lot of people who get really good at a craft don't explain those steps. You get me? So how did you get better and better and better? Was it just through assisting and then learning from people who already knew, or would you take the camera on weekends and go shoot your friends? How did that happen?
I think the one thing that really happened was I got very consumed by it. So if you get very obsessed with something, you're really gonna be good at it. I was at rest. I was bothering my friends. There's a friend of mine that I actually bumped to last month in Durban.
Dope.
And he never forgets. He always shows the people the ugliest photo that I took of him. And he's like, this guy used to bug
Yeah.
me like hell, you know, and just you gotta be so obsessed with it, you know, especially because the learning curve is like, you know, in science, you know, it goes up like that. It's steep, but once you get there, and that's the time that you just have to keep like just adding.
get you.
And for me, it was just at that time I was like just trying to consume everything that like I could get, and then I was like, you know what, I'll filter it later. I'll decide later what works for me, what doesn't. But I want to learn everything. So at first I knew like I wanted to shoot fashion, portraits, commercial photography. But I was like, but I see these people in these photos, they're carrying food, you know, so maybe I need to also learn that. You know, they're in a space. Maybe I need to learn how to shoot real estate. You know, maybe I need to learn how to shoot animals,
get
kids,
you,
and whatever. And I was just, even at home, these are my nieces. They have pictures
Dope.
from when they were
Shout
little,
out.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I used to bother them all the time. And they were like just kids happy to just go around and, you know, get nice pictures.
I love
but
that.
I literally bugged anybody that was like, it became a ritual. Like afterwards, like if my friends were with me, I was like, hey, let me take a picture of you for memories, man. I'll send it to you. You know? And that's every time I did that,
Okay.
I learned something new. And I think it's that like a lot of people are not obsessed. Like some people kinda like it, you know, but like me, you'd wake me up at 2 o'clock and say, hey, Simz, let's go take pictures. I'll go. Because I have also, you know, I'll go and shoot like pictures of the cityscape. And, you know, there's a friend of mine who worked at Moses Mabhida, and he was like, you know what, like it's quiet during these times. If you want to take those cityscapes, come through. I was there at 10 o'clock at night coming to take those pictures.
I get
you.
you.
Know? So you just gotta be really, really obsessed.
Obsessed with it.
Like not like it, you know, like you gotta be obsessed, you know. Even in relationships.
That's true.
Relationships work when you're obsessed with your partner.
That's true.
You know,
that's true. Yeah, you can't be like 50%. Like, I get that. I get that. I love that. When do you start making a living off of photography? Because in Johannesburg, there's 30,000 photographers, and probably 200 out of 30,000 are making a living off of this thing. What happens for you to start like actually earning a living off of this thing?
Well, I mean, that first assisting job that I did it, and then next thing, send you banking details. I think it was like maybe the third one that I assisted, third or fourth one. But like I went there not expecting to get paid anything. I was just like, I didn't know we get paid to assist. I thought you must be a photographer.
For you to get paid.
Yeah. You know, so I start getting paid, and I asked one, I'm like, why am I getting paid? It's like, because you are working, you now know what's happening, you know? And that for me was like a good lesson to know, would say, oh, you gotta give value to get value back in monetary terms.
It's an exchange.
You know, and it's like, I also do see people like come and assist me and it's like, yeah, I'll send you my invoice. For what? To come and learn from me, go to Vega, go pay to learn there, you know? But that was like the first check that I got. And then from there, I think my friend who worked at Moses Mabhida, Tando, invited me. Was like, dude, I need a second shooter. We're shooting a wedding, you know. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'll come through, you know. And then next thing is like, send your banking details, 5,000 rand. I'm like, whoo, from shooting, you know. And even before that part, it was I shot my friend's dog in class. You know, she had just gotten a puppy, and she's like, hey, I've seen it. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. And she was like, you know what, like I need to take pictures with my dog, with my puppy, whatever. We went to the beach, we took these pictures, whatever. And she's like, how much is it gonna be? I'm like, I don't know. I actually don't know. And she's like, okay, cool, I'll pay you 300 rand. Like, come back to raise. I'm like, you know how much I just made off this thing? $300, my boy. You know, and like that was a lot of money. Like that was more than my 2 weeks pocket money, you
I
know?
get you.
And that's when like the first, and then after like shooting a little bit, and then Tando hits me up like later on.
Okay.
And I'm like, 5,000, how much your wedding is if you paying me 5,000? You know, like
I get
I'm
you.
just like,
I get you.
but I think the whole process was like a thing of, oh, okay, cool. The more you get better, the more you get paid.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and I think also coming into Joburg was that like you need to have something to offer. Like nobody's gonna pay for just because you have a fancy camera.
Yeah.
Like you have to back it up. You know, and the one thing really helped me was I used to shoot a lot of work for free. Like I would shoot and shoot, but I was creating that portfolio so that if someone sees how I shot this bottle and they have bottles, they're like, oh, I want that.
Yeah.
Now I'm not doing it for free because
Now
now you're
I can
commissioning
pay
me.
you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because now I already know how to do this, you know, but to get myself at the door, you gotta kind of create the work first.
I get you.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah.
You spoke about how the first, when you shot your friend's dog on the beach, they paid you 300 rand, and then the wedding they paid you 5,000 rand,
Which
right?
is like
Yo.
a very big return.
Yo, that's huge, right?
Yeah.
But how did you learn how to charge, right? That's like such a big thing because there's so many talented photographers, but they have no idea where should I start? When do I take my price up? Like, how did you learn about pricing?
I think pricing is very tricky because projects are very different.
Of course, of course.
All the
of course.
time. But I think the first thing that I really established was my day rate. Like, what does it cost for me to leave my house and go and shoot? Whether I deliver or whether I'm like shooting with 10 lights or whatever, without the equipment, just for me to wake up and go there, what would that cost, you know? And I think that helped because I started then assisting photographers, and then they will also like tell me like, okay, like this is how you charge, because I'll start getting like, you know, models hitting me up and like, you know, at first like I was told the pricing, you know, like when you start off shooting magazines, they tell you this is how much we pay the photographer. So you kind of establish, oh, editorial rates cost like this, this costs like this, commercial work costs like this. But then as well, when you get into an agency, which I really would recommend for most photographers, especially when you're still starting out, you know, like get into an agency, assist photographers, and then start seeing, oh, okay, these are the line items, you know, because if you're not like certain things, I didn't know I can charge for my camera. I thought, I was always thinking like, the doctor needs to have a scalpel. Like they need to have that. Like,
Of course.
so why are they charging for that? But and then you look at, and then luckily I have an accounting background, and I was like, oh, there's wear and tear, you know. So that's why you must charge for these things. You know, there is usage for this because you would have hired it anyway. And then you know, more assisting. I actually came across photographers like Steve Tancho who never had a camera for like 10, 20 years. You know, they just hire them all the time because, you know, cameras, every year there's a new one. So to him, it doesn't make sense to keep buying a camera, you know. So, and then you start saying, oh, okay, cool, like line item for gear, line item for my day rates. If I have an assistant, a professional assistant, this is how much they should get paid, and so on and so on. And these rates are you learning whilst you assisting, while you're exposing yourself to these things, and also then gauging. I would say the market is very like, it's, yeah, like there's no set fees, but you kind of get like a gauge, like, oh, it's okay for a certain kind of job. It ranges from this
to this.
to this. Like if when I was at Lamppost, like there were like junior rates and then a senior, and then, you know, while experienced. So and then you get to see, oh, okay, cool, like if it's editorial, these are the rates, and and they kind of tell you the rates,
I get you.
and then you kind of like see, oh, okay, cool, like this is how kind of things work.
I get that.
Yeah,
I get
but like
that.
if you're just starting out and you just hear that Ini charges this amount, and you're like, let me also charge them.
Yeah,
It
it's
might
not gonna
work
work
for
out
you.
for you.
It's not gonna work for you.
I understand.
Because then also your work needs to get to that senior level, and who judges that?
I
It's
get
it's the
that.
market that judges. Like probably you hear people like, hey, I wanted to hire you, but hey, your work looks expensive. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. I'm moving to senior now. If people are starting to think they can't afford me before they even ask me for a quote, I'm moving there.
Then now you're moving. I get that,
yeah,
bro.
yeah,
I get
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm interested in how you view competition, right, amongst you and your peers. Like, how do you use competition in your personal photography life? Like, are you do you view your peers' work and you're like, oh shit, that's fire, that's inspiring me, or like, how does that work for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, I save a lot of like Instagram has this save thing.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I'm always saving what I see from others because I'm like, I want to figure that out. I want to see how I can do that because I think for me, if I ever reach a point where I feel like I'm better than everybody else, and then I need to throw that camera out. So I think I'm always just, even like the new people, the new kids that are coming in, I'm always viewing their work because they have different ways of articulating because I traditionally went the assisting route, right? Some of them haven't went the assisting route. So they're just like going in. And sometimes that is more interesting than, like the normal ways of doing things. So I literally view competition as like, I need to stay up. I need to
I get
keep
you.
learning. I need
I
to
get you.
I need to stay relevant. And also then I look at also with this as well. It's like, okay, what resonates with me, what doesn't? And in that also looking at that work, I always look at, because now it's a business, right? So I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's nice for portfolio. That's nice to entice clients. Maybe I need
get
to
you.
look at it like that.
I get
So,
you. I get you. I get you. I want to speak about AI,
Yeah.
right? Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Especially speaking to a photographer, right? We're living in an age now where I can literally go on ChatGPT, download one of your images from Instagram, be like, yo, recreate this image for me with Snoop Dogg's face, right? And I want to find out what's your perspective on AI right now, where it's going for your profession. Because now, if people can just prompt an image, what does that mean, and how are you viewing this disruptive technology that's here to fuck
Yeah,
shit
I
up?
mean, AI is doing the good things, and for me, I'm actually viewing it as a way to make my workflow easier. So, yes, sharp, you can go and prompt, get this image, but that image will never be created the way that AI can't manage relationships.
That's true.
AI can't make your vision bigger. So if you are prompting over there, that's all you can do. But if like I'm able to visualize this and change it and make it better and help you grow with this and also look at like ways that you can make this water bottle better, that's like more value. And I think the value, I always say like you can be very good as a photographer, but if like your personality is crap, dude, like you're not going really far. And I think that's the one thing that's here to stay. Human relationships are here to stay. And
Facts.
as me, I'm using AI to just get better and get ideas and find ways to create different ways. And it will always look AI. Yeah, it's getting realistic, but it's gonna take a while. Like I mean, when like smartphones came out, like, hey, what are photographers gonna do with the camera and what and stuff.
True.
We're on iPhone 17. We're still,
And you're still here.
You know, we're still here.
Yes,
you know.
sir.
So
Yes,
I think
sir.
it's also those. Just AI is a tool, you know, and
1000.
that's what it is. It's just a
1000.
tool. So it's just like me having the best camera.
Yes.
You know, it
Yes.
doesn't really mean that I can create
The best
the
picture.
best pictures. You know,
1000.
so it's always gonna need that human intervention to come through, you know, and that's the part where I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on when a client gives me a brief, I'm finding 10 different ways to make it better. You know, I'm finding ways to keep them happy. I'm finding ways to deliver on their deadlines, which is something that AI can never do.
I
Yeah,
get you. I
yeah.
get you. I'm always interested in how people build their brand, right? Get their name out there.
Yeah.
After you had done all that assisting work, how do you start getting your name out? When do people start booking Simz? Like how does that happen?
I wish it was like a thing like where you run, you get to the finish line,
Yeah,
and then it's
yeah.
like, yeah, everybody, I am ready. Unfortunately, it really starts. I think a brand is. I always view a brand as how people feel about you. You know, more than what it looks like and all that stuff. It's always like, how do people feel? So it starts, how do you present yourself on set? You know, the one thing that I always made sure was I always wanted to be an hour, 2 hours early to set. That was like my thing, you know, like I always made sure nobody can beat me to set. I'll be there already having a coffee.
I love that.
You know, like you find me there, like, I think clean deal, you know, and that already gives whoever I'm assisting the notion that I'm taking this very seriously, you know. And on set, I was really not a coffee guy, but I learned how to make coffee. Now it's like something that I
Now
do
it's
all the
everything,
time,
yeah.
you know. And that was something that on set, I'm offering everybody coffee. That's how I'm building my brand, because now people are learning that Simz is like this on set, you know. And as it goes, it's like, hey, I think my first editorial job, they're like, oh, no, there's this guy who assists Warren, you know. Try him for, you want to shoot a quick editorial, what, you know, those stories they have on the magazine.
In the magazine.
And they're like, no, try this guy. He's been assisting. Try him, you know. Like, I've seen some of his work on Instagram. So I'm shooting, I'm posting, you know. Sometimes I get 10 likes. I do it, and my point was always like, Uti, I just want to keep, because you know, sometimes the algorithm will do funny things, you know. So for me, it was just like, I just want to keep posting and keep posting. If I get 11 tomorrow, that's a win.
That's a
you
win.
know? And with that as well, I'm also like on set. I'm just. I wasn't like on set like, hey, here's my number.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
I get you.
But
I get
I made sure that like people on set will remember me. Either remember me for the guy who made them coffee, or for the guy that help the makeup artist carry the bag in, for someone where they came and the lights were set already, you know. So I made sure, and I was building relationships not just on set, but also I was there with gear houses such as Glow. I'll be there and be like, hey, I just want to find out, how do you guys prep for a shoot when someone books a shoot? I was like, okay. G was like, his name is Gerald. He was like, okay, so first of all, there's this brush, and you brush the equipment to make sure it's clean. I'm like, oh, let me try. You are Rob. You know, I'm like, no, I want to do it right. You know, and already now, as I'm getting better, if I come there, I see a light, I'm like, hey, Gerald, how does this work? He's able to show me because I've been helping him pack gear. You know?
Get that.
And that is just something that like you kind of build there, because everybody thinks, get to the finish line, yeah, I know how to use one light, I'm ready.
I'm good.
You know, and you think the bookings will come, you'll sit at home.
With no bookings.
With no book, you'll keep posting, nothing happens. Because also people need to trust how they feel about you. Your work is good, but how do we know you did it?
Yes.
You know, or how do we know you are good at being on set. You are good to be around
People.
to work with, you know, and that's like more or less how, I mean, like, you don't buy an iPhone because it takes nice pictures. You know, it's
I
been
get
proven many times that Samsung sometimes
Actually,
takes better
has.
pictures, you know.
That's true. That's
But
true.
why? It's because how you feel about it, how it makes you feel when you're holding it, you know.
I get that.
And
I
and
get
that is like just, I think a brand is more a feeling than anything else. Yeah.
Emotion is everything, and the people who understand that and understand that we're all in the business of people. No matter what you do, whether you're an accountant or you're a photographer, you're in the business of people. So that's a super valuable skill. I wanted to ask you about, yes, your first cover, right? The first magazine cover that you shot. How does that happen, and how did you deal with the pressure of like, yo, I can't mess this up? Like mentally, what were you going through? How do you get your first cover?
My first cover was for Glamour,
Ah.
and it was with Zamo, especially when she had just like shot up. Like she was, I think she was doing a lot of things internationally at the time, and now I'm given this big opportunity, you know. And I think the one thing that really helped me was that I had practiced a lot.
Of course. 10,000 hours.
Like I had shots and shots and shots, and literally when I got the brief, I'm like, I've done this many times. We were shooting at the beach in Durban. Magazines really love the, you know, like commercial shoots. They love the using lights and all that stuff. So I knew there were a lot of factors that I needed to stay in control of and all that stuff. And to be honest, I was nervous, but I was ready. You know, I was ready, and I think that's it came to me via a WhatsApp message. Hi, Simz, we have this brief. We'd like for you to shoot it. I'm like, okay, I'm game. You know,
I get that.
but that was also people that had been watching what I was doing, because I had been shooting these in story. You know, the ones that nobody sees.
Yeah, the ones inside,
You know,
in the
inside
pages.
the pages, you know, and I was posting everything that I'd done. So it was literally a no-brainer for the magazine to hit me up, you know. And I'm on set, things start delaying.
Of
you know.
course.
Things start getting
Anything
tricky.
that
Things
can
are
go
starting
wrong
to move.
will go wrong.
Exactly, you know. And I think for me, though, it was, I already knew how to shoot one thing like 7 ways. You know, so I knew that, like, if this trick doesn't work, I have that one, I have that one, I have that one. And I think that's the one thing that really helped me, because, you know, when I got the shot that they chose for the cover, was like my easiest shot of the day.
I get
You know, I
that.
didn't even think that that was
That's the
gonna be the
one.
one. You know, but I think it's that, like, just really being prepared really helps. You know,
I got that.
I think some of us really don't practice enough, and it goes back to the first thing that I said. I'm still very obsessed with photography. Every single day I do something photography related, and
Interesting.
in that way, I'm always ready for whatever.
Whatever comes, you just know, okay, I get that.
And then also, I think another thing that really helped me was watching other photographers, how they work. Because when a client also asks for something that is impossible, it's very important for you to say, to have a way to curve them back to the brief.
Yeah.
You know, because clients get excited and it's like, hey, let's take a picture on top of the roof there, you know, and like, but how does this fit to the story?
into the story.
Or like, that is gonna take me at least 3 hours to set up a screen over there. Now I must get a ladder or whatever, you know.
I get that.
But I think that also helped me to have a way of talking to the clients and being like, hey, I think because the sun is over there, I think we need to start with this shot over
on
here,
this side.
and then move like this, and then this one will light it like this, and just having your way of showing that you are in charge of what you are doing. You know exactly, you know this, you know, and because think even for me, like if I was to hire a builder and it's like, hey, put up this wall here, and they keep asking me how to do it. Oh, like, are you happy? Do you like it? Do you like it?
You'll
Do you
be
like
like,
you know what I mean? So for me, like every time I shoot something and I'm like, and I see it, I like it. I hype up the client. I'm like, come see this.
Come see.
Come
Yeah.
see what we just
I
did.
get that. I
you
get
know,
that.
and in that way, it also gives them confidence that I really know what I'm doing. I think the one thing that I call it like open book shooting, which is like the standard now where you shoot, you tethered. So as you take the shot, everybody can see
Can
it.
see right there.
You
I
know,
get
and
you.
that kind of confidence gave me the thing to know that okay, like when I shoot, I know my settings are on. The creator of that, I've studied the brief. I know exactly what you want, and that kind of helps you to be able to. So like that shoot, man, it wasn't easy, but it was not the hardest.
And it's the one that led to all
Many
the other
others.
ones.
Yeah.
I get that. I get
Then
that.
after that, I was just like cover after cover
I get
after
you.
cover,
Yeah.
you know.
Because the first one, I wanted to find out about the first one because the first one is always super important. Whether you've done it 10,000 times, like, that pressure.
Yeah.
When do we get to Shamasi Studios? Like, why did you make that decision to open up your own studio?
Yeah, so I used to rent out, so I was very familiar with Glow at the time, and I used to rent out their studio quite a lot. You know, I just really fell in love with shooting in the studio and just the possibilities. You know, that's why I told you I like AI as well because you know you can just transform. You have a blank canvas, you transform it to anything.
Yes, sir.
And I was shooting a lot, and then in the studio and stuff. And then COVID hits, right? 2020, COVID hits. Now we are like stuck, you know. And I always wanted my own little studio. So I'm thinking, okay, what are the ways that, you know, I can still make money? And because I can't go to people's houses now, like, you know, and then stage 4 happens where like, hey, you're allowed to go to a certain space, but the space is this big, so many people. So that's when I look for a space. I go there, and the first idea was to have a co-working space, you know, with I called it best friends at the time, you know, like just a couple of friends working together and so on. And but then later on, as it grew, people started hiring the space, and I'm like, ish. Now, like, it's not my space anymore. What's happening? You know? Yeah. But then the brand started growing, best friends and so on. And then one day I'm just thinking, I'm like, you know, we start these things and we don't know how far they're gonna go. But then if best friends just, you know, let's say I die tomorrow, what was best friends? You know, it has to mean something to me as well. And then that's when I changed the name to Shamase, which is my clan name from Mkhwanazi, you know, and because I was looking at, you know, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, these are all people's names.
Family
you
names.
know, it's family names, you know what I mean? And so I also wanted to have my name on it because then I'm going to treat it like a baby. Now there's no way out because it's like just, you know. And so I start that, so the studio starts growing. And now I'm not having a lot of shooting time in the studio. I start now, people are hitting me up, hey, Simz, I also want to learn how to shoot in the studio, you know, and so I'm like, okay, come through, you know, come through, I'll show you what I know and all that stuff. And then next thing, these people are just here all the time, so now they become part of the team, you know, and that's when like the team started growing, you know, like now we're shooting, we get jobs, we go shoot outside, we have a studio here and all that stuff, you know, so that's how kind of Shamasa came up.
Where is it located?
It's at Ellis Park.
Dope.
Ellis Park, just next to, just outside rugby stadium.
Okay.
Literally, yeah.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
For now.
For now, yeah, of course.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna grow and go to other affluent areas.
Of course.
But it's nice at the moment. It's a nice test of concepts.
I get that. I get that.
You know, because it's like you don't know that you can build a studio this big, and now you did it. That was like, oh, okay.
What's
now
next?
What's
now?
next?
I get that. Speaking about what's next, right? I'm always interested in how people's dreams evolve, right? Like from you shooting your friend's dog on the beach, all the way to shooting Nomza More, opening up your own studio, developing a team. What's a new dream for Simz today that he hasn't reached and touched yet?
Yeah. So one of the dreams is obviously I'm learning more film.
Yeah.
So I'd love to shoot a small docu.
Dope.
Or more like a small feature
Film.
film.
Yeah, short film.
Yeah. And then my other dream as well is to have a team that is self-sufficient, that I can, you know, almost like an agency. You know, eventually have a sort of agency where we have from academy level all the way to, you know, growing people so that they are self-sufficient to having an agency, you know. So I think I'd really love that, you know, because and then the brand grows even bigger, you know, because you know, just like you look at your Apples, you look at your Googles, it's not one person. It started like, with, you know, with Steve Jobs over there, but now it's so expanded. So I'd really love to see Shamase in different branches of South Africa, you know, in different places, even one day very international, you know.
I love
so
that.
That's, and for me, Shamase represents, you know, raw, authentic South African talent, you know, because I'm looking at things in a way that we grew up here. And how do I turn those stories and make them, because sometimes our stories are not being told very nicely, you know, and I'm very happy about, you know, Shaya Lembe being reinterpreted, you know. And that is just already like a step in the right way. And I think for me also with the agency that I want Shamasa Studios to be is also having people just learn the right way from start. You know, just
hear that.
being patient enough to learn and then growing to become, you know, the best photographers they can be, filmmakers and so on. So I'd really love that one day to have something like that.
I love that. Oh no, it's definitely coming.
Yeah.
One thing that I love about your approach to your craft, your approach to your career is that you do it step by step. Like a lot of people like jumping steps. They'll be like, yo, I'll take the elevator.
Yeah.
But like, you don't become a master at your craft if you skip steps. So yeah, that's one thing that I definitely picked up. Now, there's definitely going to be someone who's watching this, who's an accountant, who has a camera, or even just a young person out there who's like, yo man, Sim's story is like super inspiring to me. What's Sims's last piece of advice to that person? For that person to step out into the world and make their dreams a reality?
Yeah, so I always say, like, if you have a day job, don't quit it just yet until your hobby or whatever you are doing pays you enough to not do that.
Yeah.
You know, or if now your time is so busy doing this hobby that now it's, you know, overtaken the
nine to
value of
five.
the 9 to 5, you know, because it's very easy, you know. My friend Ayanda, who also works at Glow, always says "Musungama," like his Xhosa. So I eventually learned that means don't rush, you know. So always like take it step by step, build your brand, build your network, and then from there, then when you see that, oh, okay, look, now I'm getting so many gigs that it's enough for me to quit my day job, and then move there, you know, and then other people will be like, yeah, but if you don't quit your job, you won't get
You
those
won't step out,
gigs,
yeah.
you know. So it's almost like a feeling thing. I think I always feel like if it's important to try. I mean, I also like left accounting and I went to try, you know, and
got
I'm
burnt.
still trying,
I
you know,
understand.
you know what I
I
mean?
understand.
And it's like, it's always important to choose your hard. Like, is your hard a 9 to 5, but you're stable? Or is your hard like you're gonna hustle every month, but you're not as stable, you
Yeah.
know? So just at the end of the day, like we're not all built the same, you know. Like I think I can't say, hey, because a lot of people are like, if you don't quit your job, you're never gonna make
feel you.
it,
Hey,
and
but you'll get cooked, huh?
you know.
Yes,
And it's
sir.
like, yo, job, you know, and you building someone's dream and what, you know. And I always see it as a way of it's very different, like how you approach it. Like you can still achieve your dreams. Maybe another way would be to approach an agency or another photography company and be like, hey guys, I'd love to work for you, and they pay you a salary, and you're still doing what you love.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
which is the same thing that accountants are doing. They're doing what they love,
yes,
you know,
yes.
and obviously, like, we're not all built the same to be. Being an entrepreneur is it's delusion.
Yeah, it
You
is.
know, you just have to be dumb to everything.
Yeah.
Because there's many ways that things won't work out.
Of course.
And if you're not, always look at yourself first and like, see, how do you feel when you're broke? Like, that's the one thing that, are you scared? Are you like nervous? Are you like, ish, what am I going to do? Or you're like, yeah, I'm broke right now, but let me keep going, let me keep going, let me keep going.
I'll be
Something will
alright.
come, you know? And if you, maybe the latter, maybe you can then quit your job and go, you know?
Pursue it, yeah.
Yeah, but let's not be dumb about it, you know, because we still need to eat,
Yeah.
you know, and the one thing that you don't want to be a struggling artist that is bothering your family over there. Yeah, it's like, hey, you know, like those SoundCloud rappers.
Of
ish,
course.
You know, and
Of
it's like,
course.
no, I'm about to blow up.
Hey,
you know?
this mixtape, this one is
Yeah.
gonna change my life.
While you're doing that mixtape, have something that puts food on your table, which is very important, you know. So I think delusion also needs a little bit of logic. Like,
Yeah, and reality. Delusion and reality.
Yeah.
Live in both those worlds.
Yeah, it's very
I feel you.
important, yeah.
I feel you. Sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
This has been amazing. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back with another episode of Dead Radio.